Hello everyone, Kami here, and The Bad Guys has a TV show that's currently on Netflix, and I'm not sure many people know about it. I mean, honestly, how many of you even went to see the sequel in theaters? Raise of hands. My point exactly. Anyways, apparently this exists, so let's hop into the review with episode 1. If there's anything I'm noticing off the bat with episode 1, it's definitely the animation and the voice cast. The animation isn't bad, that's not what I'm saying, but it's definitely a lot different from the movies with emotions, which are a lot more primitive and just feel a lot less intentional with the speed of the movements and how they're animated. It feels like they had a lot less time and care that they were able to put into each scene compared to the movies. On the bright side though, the lighting looks pretty good. It's obviously not quite the same as either of the films, but considering that this was most likely made on a lower budget, it's honestly not that bad with that in consideration. The voices aren't too horrible either for the most part, with Wolf, Shark, and Piranha being pretty good. Though the voice imitator for Tarantula really can't get that Aquafina impression down, though I doubt anyone can, to be fair. Snake could also use a little work, but again, these voice actors really aren't that bad, all things considered. Oh yeah, this is actually a prequel series, which I guess makes sense because there's more opportunities for stories there rather than after either of the two films. Anyways, yeah, on with the episode. So the episode starts with them committing a small robbery of an arcade machine, how dare they, and seeing that they made it on the news, and of course, they don't. One thing I'm noticing about this episode in particular is how slow the pacing is. Like, it takes us nearly 8 minutes to get to the main point of this episode and the actual heist that they want to focus on, which, for how few episodes shows get nowadays, you think they'd spend less time on setup here. Anyways, Wolf plans for the newly established bad guys to steal the brand new Sad Boy painting because, of course, and also they spend another 6 minutes talking. If I had to say one thing about this episode alone, is that it feels like they're restricted by budget and have to spend a lot of time in single areas to save money for other scenes, which is honestly really annoying. The films don't really stay on scenes that much, so to see this episode stay on scenes where they're clearly just filling for time is really annoying. Anyways, the heist doesn't go to plan and they actually don't steal the painting, which is cool because having your characters win no matter what is bad storytelling. With all that being said, the first episode is honestly really mediocre and not great, honestly, but hopefully that's just because it's the first episode and the second one will be better. So episode 2 starts out a lot faster paced, which is great because holy cow, episode 1 was so slow. The episode begins with establishing that no matter how hard they try, they can't seem to make it on the worst of the worst list. Forgot to mention that during my review of episode 1, but yeah, there's a top 10 list of the best, worst criminals, and the bad guys are trying to get on it. Anyways, they see that a candy that Shark eats is getting discontinued, so they decide to steal the recipe book for the candies, and also split up into teams for whatever reason. This is all established within the first 8 minutes of the episode, so I think episode 1 was being slow to mess with me specifically. The episode continues with Wolf and Snake getting the book, but then being hypnotized by the woman behind it. This episode is more of a Shark and Webb's Tarantula episode than it is anyone else, and honestly it's pretty good. With a quicker pace it's pretty much bound to be, but I think that the writing overall is much sharper here than it is in the first episode, with it feeling a lot less like they're lingering on scenes to fill time. Honestly, if the rest of the show is like this might actually be a decent sit-through, but let me get to my final thoughts. Honestly, from what I watched, I think this show is fine. The animation isn't quite up to the quality of the movies, which is a little distracting for me, but it's honestly not a deal breaker. The voice acting is pretty good, and there's really not too much to complain about in that department. The writing is actually pretty good too. I think they capture the characters pretty well, and if episode 2 is anything to go by, the individual episodes are written well and at least decent in quality. If you like the movies, I'd give this show a chance, but I honestly wouldn't recommend it outside of that. So with all that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like and a comment, donate to my Ko-Fi if you want, or become a patron. You know, that's cool. Please subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Later!